Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Yeah, so today we are going to be playing you a video of a white man who clearly encourages his fellow white men to come to Africa. But before we say anything further, let's play you the video, watch, and then we come back and talk about it.
Here's the point. If you're a white guy, especially from the West, if you're from the West, it's easy for you to insert yourself into the highest reaches of African society, because in Africa, automatically, by being American or European, you will be taken more seriously. People will take you more seriously, the African people will take you more seriously, and you will be at a automatically higher echelon just because of where you come from. Now, of course, in business, it's all about who you know. It's all about what social circles you move in, all right?
Western Africa is starting to get pretty rich, and a lot of international investors are overlooking the opportunities that exist in countries like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. I believe that the next generation of ultra-rich billionaires in real estate are going to come from Western Africa. I had an opportunity to do consultation for a development company in Abidjan, and what I saw there was very surprising. The main business district, which is called Plateau, was so well developed that you would have mistaken it for a very wealthy Western city. And some of the areas that were less wealthy, like Cocody, had houses that would put any of our McMansions to shame. The shopping was incredible. The grocery stores were better than a Wegmans or a Whole Foods. And that was just the beginning. But why are people overlooking Western Africa? We all grew up with the Save the Children charities that showed us pictures of poor Africans, but that was in the 80s and 90s. And while there is still poverty in Africa today that you can see in plain sight, a lot of the area is just developing quickly, and we need to put our preconceived notions to the side if we actually want to be able to take advantage of some of these incredible opportunities that are going to come down the pike in the next 5 to 10 years. Western Africa needs 3 things to really blow up, in my opinion, and they're already coming down the pike. The first is title law, being able to easily know who owns which property, which has been rolled out in a beta form throughout the entire area. We need to have Western-style finance, which is already coming out there, mainly through Deutsche Bank and some of the Swiss banks that are making a lot of inroads into West Africa. And then the most important thing is time and international investment. As more of us Western investors realize that we can make amazing returns in Africa, we're going to start putting money in there, and it's just going to fuel a big fire. It's not without risks. But if you've ever wanted to be on the ground floor of any major investment, like your Bitcoins, like your internet stocks, this is one of those opportunities. A rapidly growing economy, waterfront houses, and an environment that rivals Southern California at times. Hey, what do you guys think? Would you consider investing in West African real estate? Why or why not? Leave a comment below.
Yeah, so you had the white guy quite clearly. You know what got me was him saying that when you come to Africa, just the mere fact that you're a Westerner and you look like him, you know, meaning that if you're a white person in Africa, you're going to get anything you want, because there are some certain privileges white people enjoy in Africa. And I really don't blame this man, because Africans still worship the white skin. You know, it's quite sad, but that is what is happening in Africa. You heard him talk about the places they get to insert themselves, you know, the high position, the top positions in companies.
Yes, and also, you guys, real estate industry is really booming. I can say not only in West Africa, even here in Kenya, it is like the biggest cash cow right now. And most of these white people, they are starting to come to invest in Africa, in Kenya. And if you are loaded, you know, you get the prime plots, you know.
Is it true that you could buy a single-family house in Accra, Ghana for less than $70,000 that's a lot nicer than what you could buy in America? Well, the answer is yes. And while you may think I'm exaggerating about how good of a deal Ghana is, when I show you how easy it is to move to Ghana and finance a property and escape the rat race of the Western world, you'll be so glad you watched this video. To demonstrate this, I want to talk about a particular gated community that we have for sale. It's only 20 kilometers from the airport, and we're selling 1,300 square foot single family houses with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, that's air conditioned, that has quality finishing, 24/7 concierge service, and security so your house is watched even when you're away. And they also come with solar power, so your energy bill is probably going to be under $10 a month. Bear in mind, we are charging less than $70,000 for a concrete build. And if you're from the Western world, it might be hard to process these prices, but because we're building them at scale, these prices are possible and we're able to offer those savings to the end buyer. But what about the area? Is it any good? Well, yeah, it's really nice. The area is very safe. It has modern medical facilities. It has pharmacies, great schools, delicious restaurants, really cool chop bars, and it has high-speed internet, and it's close to downtown shopping and the beaches. And talking about financing, these houses are available in payment plans which can be under $1,200 a month. So if you use a payment plan, after 2 years, you own your house free and clear and never have to make a house payment for the rest of your life.
And that's why we usually tell you, if you're a black and you're looking to invest back at home, if you're an African diaspora who is looking to invest back home, right now is the time, because as they've said, 4, 5, 10 years down the line, the same opportunities that are waiting for you guys will not be waiting for you anymore. You know, people will have grabbed all those opportunities. So as a black person, ask yourself, why are people coming back to Africa, and why are people all of a sudden making heavy investments here in Africa? Because Africa is the next big thing, you guys. So please do not just sit at home and say that nobody ever told you. Here in Twinshangout Kenya, we always try and tell you guys, come and take investment opportunities while you still can.
Yeah, I'd quite honestly feel comfortable if these were black Americans or black people from other countries, or just Africans in diaspora who are coming and investing heavily in Kenya or other parts of Africa, but these are white people who are coming to flood Africa and calling themselves come these opportunities. And I bet a black person will be seated in their sitting room or in their living room saying that nobody ever told us about these opportunities. Yet I've seen countless of African YouTubers trying to tell African Americans, trying to tell black people from other parts of the world, come back home and come and invest, because now is the opportunity. But nobody wants to listen. Let's address the first guy before we continue talking about the whole video. So the guy is encouraging his people to come and invest in Africa. Not only invest, live in Africa and get the benefits that they would get in Africa. Why? Because he knows in Africa, being a Westerner, especially a Westerner who looks like him, when you come to Africa, there are benefits you get, there are privileges you enjoy. But I don't blame him. To be honest, I very much blame Africans, because Africans really
can't blame Africans, because we also still operate under the mindset of colonial mindset. So as when we see a white person or when we see a Westerner, whether white or black, it doesn't matter, we automatically assume that you guys know more than we do, because in the field of technology, I can say that is why America is more advanced, that is why China is more advanced, and that is why I think most Africans, they usually tend to let foreigners who are from the Western world lead their companies when they come to Africa.
But one question I have to ask, this I'll direct to you, our audience. I'm trying to assume that a lot of black people from all over the world will be watching this video as well.
Right.
So my question is to them, black Americans and black people from other African diasporas and black people from other places. When a white man sees these opportunities and he starts calling his own people, aren't you rattled in your seat? Doesn't something bring the awakening force in you to want to come and also see what they're finding here in Africa? Because as Maren and I usually say, right now, today, this is the time to come back to Africa and invest and take advantage of whatever investment opportunities you're looking to expand, whether it's in America or Africa. But Africa has some green grounds that you can take advantage of. In Kenya right now, we have a lot. Somebody in the comment section the other day asked me, why are there so many many white people in Nairobi. Nairobi is our capital city. That is the capital city of Kenya. Why is there so many people in Nairobi, Diani, Mombasa, and Kisumu? One simple answer.
What's even more interesting is that if you're African anywhere in Africa right now, I'm sure you've noticed a lot, a higher number of white settlers than you could have noticed 3, 4, 5 years back then. 3 years back then you couldn't meet with white people all over in Nairobi, but right now you even meet with them in downtown Nairobi, a place that most of them would consider unsafe and like they wouldn't go. You find you meet with white people downtown,
and the worrying thing is that a lot of them are actually coming in. For you to be able to buy property as a white man in Kenya, you either have to use your spouse or you have to gain citizenship. That is through marriage, so that you can live in Kenya for 7 years and become a citizen. So people are really marrying Africans and obtaining land and property, and it's actually a proven fact that if you get to buy a property in Kenya or in Africa, you actually have a better deal than someone who has property abroad, because America you have to pay for house taxes. Is it house or land?
I don't know, you guys can tell us. But for all the black Americans, African diasporas, and just basically black people around the world who want to come to Africa to do some sort of investment, but you're not yet convinced, listen carefully, because in the next 5 to 10 years such opportunities won't be readily available, because right now is when people from abroad are coming to grab these opportunities when they can.
And when they are coming, remember how it's affecting the locals and how it's affecting the prices.
Right.
When some white settlers start settling in a certain area, life becomes very expensive. Right now, there's some things that Kenya has put in place because a lot of settlers are coming in that you wouldn't find 5 years ago. You understand?
Right.
So
like right now, it was just in the news the other day, maybe last week. A lot of things have gone up, including rates of acquiring passports, visas, stuff like that. And it's because why? The government has noticed that a lot of people from the West are coming in, not just blacks, not just white, a lot of people.
So if you have ever thought of moving, this is your time. And there's this thing, I don't know how many of you who are watching us know about I Am Marwa. He's an African YouTuber, specifically from Kenya.
Right.
Now, when Marwa started doing his vlogs and YouTube and whatnot, he was buying land in where he comes from, a place called Nyabohanze. But right now, we understand that it's very, very difficult to acquire land in Nyabohanze because Marwa has a lot of international friends
and
who come
those international friends, most of them are also looking to buy land in that village.
Some of them have already purchased lands,
right?
So that has made the prices of land on that other side, if you want to acquire land there, you won't acquire it at the same price you would have when he was starting. So these are just the kind of things we are talking about. And if you had that first man, he's very happy and glaring into the fact that he's enjoying privileges that he knows
normally enjoy in America,
abroad, that he knows his skin is according him,
and that he knows him being a Westerner is according him. And that also I can tell you for a fact, when you come from abroad, we work in the same company or we go apply for the same job and we have the same qualifications. So long as you're a foreigner from outside of Africa, you are most guaranteed to get that job, regardless of whether I qualify for the job or not.
Which is quite sad, because actually a good example, okay, I don't want to mention names, but I think I will have to for the context of this video. I don't know if you guys know Brittany is she Brittany in Africa? A YouTuber called Brittany in Africa,
something like that.
She's a black American woman who at some point of her life she came to Kenya, lived in Kenya for some time, enjoyed
the lifestyle in Kenya
to the point where she was considering getting a job
here permanently, but she eventually married a Nigerian man, and she's now residing in West Africa.
Yeah, and she was considering getting a job here in Kenya at a radio station, and the radio station is known to hire people, you know,
with accents.
People with accent, meaning you have to have gone to an international school
here in Kenya,
or you have to have schooled abroad. So when she applied to that radio station, she was told she has to go for a 6 months training, and then they would absorb her into the company.
Yeah.
But let me tell you,
6 months training was because she's an American. She needed to know Kenyan culture was about, so that she could know how to present in a radio station within the Kenyan culture.
And this is, I can say, she got a very nice deal, because when it comes to locals, even getting an internship in that radio station, I'm telling you, it's very, very difficult.
You must know somebody from that radio station, but she was offered a job so long as she could train with them for 6 months.
And I tell you, that is the Kenya we live in, or Africa we live in.
Sadly.
It's quite sad that the locals or people on this end get the shorter end of the stick, but that is just how it is. Like, but you know, this Africans worshipping the white skin, you know, much as you're saying, Maureen, you don't blame them because they still have the colonial mindset. I do blame Africans. I'd say we do ourselves a disservice.